you're normally used to seeing with some of these other comps that have been used for throughout the Pro League and even before that. Honestly, if you see a team get a 2-cap, I say it's over.
Honestly, I have to agree to some extent, but the last game, I don't think we saw one from Spooky, if I'm not mistaken. But as soon as you said, as you just said, as soon as we saw a 2-cap from this blue team, Team PZ, it was over for the most part. So I would be curious to see if that will happen in this game, and I could agree to some extent on that end. But game number 2 on Temple of the Silent Storm will be starting up here between Spooky and Team PZ. Looking at the map here, going to take a look at the opening splits as both teams wanting to claim victory here. Spooky need a victory if they want to move on to a game at number 3. Opening up, Sunfish going to head to that temple, and Marvin heading to the altar. Probably 3-0 play. It's probably anticipated for the most part, as Schnicky might end up being in a 1v2 at this midpoint.
Yeah, that might be the case. However, we are seeing, and Schnicky is not the person you want to be in a 1v2. Schnicky isn't even really the person you want to be in a 1v1 with Muffins with, and there he is in that 1v1. However, Java was taken out already. Sunfish and Physics were able to make that happen there, and Zeus now is in a position where he's going to be able to go for that res. Physics going for the stop with the quickness there, and it does line up, and he's going to be able to get that stop. Now 5 points already on the board for this Team Spooky here, and this is actually exactly what we saw last match, where we saw Spooky with an early advantage. However, the first cap does go in favor of the blue team. Muffins is the one to hold on to that, though. We are seeing 3 members of Spooky already diving on top of him here to try to get this one. However, Schnicky did go down.
Wow, Muffins making a play there. But as you mentioned, right off the get-go, we saw massive pressure from Sunfish and Happy Kid on top of Java, which got them that kill as they were moving towards that temple node. Happy Kid actually eliminated over at the temple. Taking a look at what's going on over here. Zeus nearing the cap is going to be pressured a little bit by Sunfish, but this 1v1 could take quite some time. Even though, actually, no, he's just going to help it out. K-Pod actually in the area as well, so that was a 2v1 to help him out. And a 2-cap.
A lot of misrotations here coming from this Team Spooky here. Unfortunately, from Schnicky actually here, as he did portal out over towards that home node. Teammate died, he left, Sunfish came in, and then he was just too slow to get back into that, and Sunfish fell without the support and peels of his teammate. So now Schnicky was able to move back into the midpoint, but still 2-cap in favor of blue team.
Then?
And we just mentioned the first team to a 2-cap. Honestly, even on this map, I say it's over. I think blue team has this one, and Physics now being dropped is just more evidence of that being a possibility here, as we are still seeing so much pressure being dropped by PZ. And we talked about this team actually a lot over the past couple of weeks about how this team, despite their record, is so very good right now, and taking maps off of teams like Apex Prime, like Absurd. They were just waiting for their moment, and I think this is it. This is their moment.
It's a crucial victory, to say again, Java actually taken down at the midpoint, got the res back up, but they can't afford to drop 0-3 if they want any possibility at moving into that second spot at week 7. Anyhow, at this midpoint, Java down once again, going to get the res back onto him. Not enough. I don't even want to say it's not enough cleave. It's just a massive res support and utility coming out here on the side of PZ. Java's down a 3rd time. Can they pick up the kill? Will they pick up the res? He is just going to vapor form and gets through it. They will pick him up for a 3rd time here, even though it's not in the midst of the team fight. A 100-point lead coming out from PZ with this 2-cap.
Yeah, they've been doing so well with those portals this match, and Physics right now not able to really do the same thing for his team here. And I mean, you look at it, they haven't really been able to get too much portal play at all, and Physics now taking a lot of pressure here as he's at about 10% HP. Does get the heal well, but not enough as he drops now, and Sunfish is getting low as well. They drop him as well, and now they get him up. Oh, the rezzing from this team here has been able to keep them alive at least a little bit here. I mean, 2-capped still, but they're at least holding on in this team fight.
Do have stillness up in about 2 seconds, and this red team, Spooky, knows they don't really need it. They just need to contest it. And here's Physics taking down. The thing on the side of Spooky is they took down Java 3 times and weren't able to capitalize on it. And that's just so difficult to have to deal with. Unfortunately, on their end, when their members dropped, they weren't able to get them back up like PZ was. So that kind of shows maybe a little bit of the mechanical ability, communication for that matter, from both these teams. And Schnicky's going to let Muffins get this stillness cap without even contesting it, and they're going to be taking a 4-cap for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something you definitely want to be able to defend, because now with this, if this does, I mean, with it being a 4-cap right now, there's no way that they're going to be able to prevent any of this right now. There's no way that they're going to get a decap anytime soon. I mean, how are you going to decap Java and Zeus together? How are you going to decap Marvin and K-Pud together? How are you going to do any of that in a timely manner? I mean, you're going to be losing so much points. They're just bleeding right now. They're hemorrhaging away in front of our eyes, and especially as Happy Kid goes down once again. Sunfish going for the res, but the stomp comes off, and Happy does go down indeed. Sunfish now moving into the midpoint, trying to get back over to his team, trying to kind of rally them together, because right now for them it doesn't look like there's any hope.
Yeah, Java is kind of being a huge disappointment for his team, being the 5 points they gave up to Spooky. So, you know, they might get on him for giving up 5 points early on in this game, but rather than that, it's just total domination from these guys. Look at the health pools on the side of this red team. There's not a whole lot they've been doing. They're all nearly 100% HP except for Muffins, who's in a 1v1 against Happy Kid. I'd like to see how that goes. Buffs up in about just over a minute here, and this blue team just reigning supreme all over this map. Do you think there's any possible scenario in which Spooky could make their way back into this?
No. No, not at all. I mean, Sunfish down once again here. We are going to be seeing the res try to come out, and he's going to be able to... Ow! The stomp
Be able to what?
Out.
What was that?
Die. Die quickly and painfully, as he did just then. And I mean, I'm not sure that Spooky feels like they can take this one away. I don't think that this might actually be possible for them at this stage. Schnicky now about to go down as well here, sitting now at 40 HP and drops Marvin, going for the quickness stomp. Weber coming out from Schnicky, and Mime might be in a position where he's going to try for it.
He doesn't even want to try. He doesn't even want to try. They had time warp. We have buffs up in about 25 seconds here. That would be Stillness and Tranquil. I'd be surprised if we made it to those buffs for that matter. I think we will, even if the 3-cap comes out here. But Spooky trying one last shot to maybe have Tranquility Cap. Actually, Mime just hopping around. I don't think this is going to be happening for Spooky. And Team PC impressing nonetheless.
They're
moving
going for
to 1 and 2. They are moving toward it, but you really think it's possible?
I mean, anything is possible if you dream and believe in yourself, all right?
Oh, they're invading it all. Threw it down. Oh, he gets interrupted so close to getting it. Happy Kid almost had it as they tried everything there. But regardless, we will be seeing. I mean, that was their last hope. Marvin's not going to let it happen.
I mean, you never know.
No? There's 4 of them down here, but Marvin's holding off 4 people. And Zeus is actually back in the midst.
They're throwing everything that they've got. Gravity Well going down, though, on top of it, and it looks like, I think this is
you kept saying there was a chance, but
there's
always
all right. There's always
on Temple
a
of
chance.
the Silent Storm. There's
always a chance.
I can agree with that.
With 8:30 left on the clock, they had an opportunity. Unfortunately, though, with the interrupt onto Happy Kid with that channel, that was it. 502 to 5 points. Another blowout on Temple of the Silent Storm there, and PZ is going to have their first win, a series win rather, over a team that was undefeated prior.
I mean, what can you say? I mean, Spooky, of course, not having Cade there. I mean, do you think that might have helped them out? It would have been different comp, but Cade on the Thief, he really helped them last week, and not having him there today might have hurt him, might have helped him out. But it really, honestly, I don't see anything that could have went even more wrong on that second map for Spooky.
Honestly, at this point, it's hard to say. It's just one of those situations where, I mean, you never really know. I mean, to say that maybe Cade being there might have made that much of a difference, it's really hard to say at this point. I mean, you can kind of say, at least at the bare minimum, with it being a mirror comp, the better team won, man.
Yeah, they definitely did. And Team PZ moving to 1 and 2 now, keeping their hopes alive potentially, but still dropping 2 sets. I mean, head-to-head matchups, they got to hope for the best, like Never Lucky up against Apex Prime. They got to hope for the best there in other scenarios as well.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have fingers crossed right now. All they need to do at this point is make sure that not only they win the rest of their games throughout the entire season and going 5 and 2, because that's their only hope at this point, but that, and on top of actually Abjurd just beating every single team down. They need to make sure that that happens, and they also need to make sure that every other team loses to one of the other top teams, because at the moment Spooky is still ahead of them, of course. I mean, they still have 2 and 1. If Apex wins this week, then again, another team that is potentially ahead of them. Apex needs to lose, of course, and I mean, you need to have other teams losing as well. I mean, they also have to worry about Final Form
Yes,
as well. So
that's true.
there's tons of teams that they need to be worrying about and crossing their fingers about, and there's a lot of time still left on the clock for things to happen and things to shift around to make them into the top again. But man,
I mean, something to think about was adjustments for Spooky next week. Moving to the other team that just dropped that. They're 2-1. It's not like they're out of it by any means.
not at all.
But adjustments, they definitely need to make some. PZ definitely has come a long way in the previous weeks. And thinking about that, going up against a really dominant team there, what do you think Spooky needs to make adjustments for next week's match?
I mean, first of all, PZ has done nothing but go up against dominant teams. I mean, that's all their season long. But Spooky, moving forward, needs to kind of figure that where they're gonna be at. I mean, Cade leaving quickly like that and having really kind of not a lot of time to prepare there with physics. I mean, maybe that had a little bit of a factor. Trying to figure out where physics is going to fit in is maybe where they need to work.
All right, we do have Zeus from Team PZ after a victory ready to chat with us about his team's win. An impressive 2-0 victory over the undefeated Spooky. How are you guys feeling after that one?
Hey, man. Feeling good. Feeling good. We needed that win. We need that confidence.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about needing that win. I mean, what kind of things are you hoping for going into the rest of the season to have happen? Because there's a lot of things that need to line up for you guys to still make it into that top 2 to make it to the season finals. But are you guys still hopeful that you think that you actually have a shot at being a top 2 team going to the season finals? Do you think that all the moons will align eventually by the end of the 7 weeks here for this first season, that you'll actually make it?
Maybe, but we're not super concerned about that. I think we're just focused on trying to improve ourselves and just win as many games as we can. And if the stars align, then they align.
Yeah, I want to talk about that second map where you guys just absolutely dominated Spooky, giving 5 points from Java's first death. I mean, it's okay, Java. You got to give him some credit regardless throughout that match. But that was just pure dominance over Spooky. Did you guys make some adjustments from your first map there to just, exploit them all over the map?
Well, Java was first to diamond, and he also said that he might be first to die too. So we knew it was coming. But yeah, I think definitely we fix up a couple of our things and try to rotate. Just get the right people in the right places, and because our team is fairly new too, and we have some communication issues, and we definitely just try to focus on communicating the right people to the right places and saying the right things, and that helped out a lot. But yeah.
All right, and you still have to worry about another team that is kind of on the at the same record right now as you. That you have a team that is really good, Final Form, that you have yet to play. How are you kind of feeling about looking at taking them on in the future, knowing what they kind of are running, that it can in some ways be similar to what you guys have run in the past, at least today for sure. I mean, what are you thinking about that one?
I just thought it was super funny that Spooky just had our comp. Like, we came into the server and we were like, and Happy Kid was, oh, dude, this comp looks really familiar. And we were like, yeah, it does. It looks kind of like our comp. But I think Final Form are good, and I'm friends with Hans, Cutie, in real life, and we actually just hung out like last week. So I mean, although we're friends, I mean we're still competitors. So I think it'll be a good game, and I look forward to playing against them. Yeah.
All right, well, congratulations on your victory over Spooky. Moving to 1-2, hopefully still having a chance to make that top 2 spot. That was Zeus from Team PZ. Looking forward to our next matchups. We have Zero Counterplay up against Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy.
Yeah, so 2 teams kind of on the bottom end of the brackets there in terms of where they've been over the course of the first 2 weeks of the season, but we'll kind of see where they end up. I mean, Easy Peasy has been kind of pulling away from the bottom of that bracket like we were talking about a little bit, and we are actually going to be seeing kind of them maybe make another move to pull away and get away from that bottom 3, away from that bottom 2, and they've honestly, if they take this one, I say they're looking pretty good for the rest of the season to at least hold out in the top 5.
It's a crucial victory nonetheless. In Zero Counterplay, they need this one. The rest of their matchups are very difficult for them. They have to take a victory here over Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy, if you ask me. But guys, we are going to head to a short break, and when we're back, we'll have Easy Peasy up against Zero Counterplay. Stay with us. welcome back to the Guild Wars 2 ESL Pro League for North America, where we have our third matchup ready for you guys. Zero counterplay up against Easy Peasy. Should be a thrilling battle for these two.
Yeah,
let's say victory.
Yeah, it should be a thrilling battle indeed. I mean, like we said, both of these teams are trying to vie for getting out of that bottom 3, bottom 2 even for Zero counterplay, and this is a team that hasn't won yet. First week struggled with roster and wasn't able to actually compete that time, then went up against last week and took a loss there as well against Apex Prime. So now they're trying to maybe take their first win of the Pro League against a team that has also kind of struggled a little bit, but still looking okay as of right now, as they are, I believe, 1-1 now.
They beat Never Lucky last week.
Yeah.
He was really falling to shambles right now.
Yeah, it really has. But, I mean, so obviously at this point, we can say that for these two teams, this match really matters. I mean, of course, it's all the matches against the really high-end top teams, like the top tier, where you're talking about Absurd, talking about Spooky, talking about PZ now, talking about Final Form, of course, and Apex Prime, of course, as well. I mean, all those matches are really important, but for them, for these two teams right here, this match could mean... I mean, this match could mean everything for them, because when you're talking about going into contention where you're going to have to maybe even fall out of the Pro League after the end of the season, these teams need this win so that they can move up and maybe prevent themselves from going into contention for dropping into the Challenger League.
Yes, that is true. Let's go ahead and head on to our first match on the Battle of Kylo. So we have both teams joined up here. Over on the red, you have Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy, and over on the blue, that would be Zero counterplay.
All right, looking first here at Edmonton. He's going to be on the Dragon Hunter here, and he's going to be playing that Longbow Sword focus with the Pack Runes, actually, and Marauder Amulet. Going to go with Valor, Virtues, and Dragon Hunter here. So one thing to note with this guy here is that he has next to no condition removal. So basically what this is Wings of Resolve is interruptible, so his condition removal from that could be removed, and then once he goes for renewed focus, he could also have that go to waste again with the Wings of Resolve. But looking now at Chudat, he is going to be on the Elementalist here. He's going to be on Staff Tempest, actually, with Celestial Amulet, Rune of the Soldier, going with Water, Earth, and Tempest. Edison going to be on the Thief as usual here, not the Daredevil, but actually just the straight-up Thief here, and he's going to have the Dagger Pistol, Short Bow with Rune of the Pack, and Marauder Amulet going with Deadly Arts, Trickery, and Shadow Arts here. And next we do have Kaden going to be opting for that Tank Mesmer here with Staff, Sword, Shield, going for Soldier Amulet as opposed to Durability, something we've been seeing Helsith doing, actually, and Inspiration, Chaos, and Chronomancer, of course, are going to be a specialization. Zor going with the Druid, actually, with Staff, Greatsword, going with Celestial Amulet and Rune of Durability as well, going Nature Magic, Beast Mastery, and Druid.
All right, taking a look over on the side of Zero counterplay, we have Moops, who's going to be playing the Revenant, the Connie Revenant for that matter, running Sword, Shield, Mace, Axe, excuse me. He is going to be running the Viper's Amulet with the Rune of Durability, with Corruption, Retribution, and Herald for himself. The second Revenant will be Hypno, if I'm not mistaken. He is going to be on the Sword, Shield with the Staff. He is going to be taking Berserker Amulet, our first one of the day, with Rune of Strength. He'll be taking Invocation, Devastation, and Herald. Q-Who is on the Mesmer. He'll be taking up the Sword, Shield with the Staff, running with Celestial Amulet, Rune of Durability, running Chaos, Inspiration, and Chronomancer. He is also running Time Warp there. Aerox running the third Revenant for this team. He's running with that Mace Axe with the Sword, Shield as well, and Viper's Amulet with Rune of Durability. He'll be taking Retribution, Corruption, and Herald. And finally, Aerodynamic running the Elementalist with the Dagger Focus, Rune of the Soldier, Celestial Amulet. He'll be taking Earth, Water, and Tempest. So what do you make of 3 Revenants on the side of Zero counterplay?
I mean, they're just buying into it right now. They're completely buying into the idea that Revenant is just that strong. And of course, when you have 2 of them on Viper's Amulet, you're going to have to worry about a lot of that Condi pressure that's going to be coming out from both these guys. But the Zerker one is the one that I'm most curious about, because, I mean, you're still seeing things like Geomancy coming out on the sigils even, and you're still seeing, I mean, honestly, it's going to be a lot of damage and it's going to be a lot of pressure, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough.
Well,
I mean,
something I'm really interested to see how it works out is not actually taking traits in the Invocation line. For Hypno, that's not really going to be panning out for him too well.
I'm not sure.
Oh, he's changing up his build. Okay.
There it is. Going for the Corruption. I knew it. I knew it.
He's running actually Celestial, it seems. So that Geomancy sigil now makes sense.
Yep. It double Geo and a Doom all actually
Okay, it's all playing together now into their perfect plan of trying to trick us here. But you know, still Sully still has good Condi damage. So I want to say 3 for that matter. It feels like Condi Revenant's really going to be providing a lot of pressure for these guys. But game number 1 on the Battle of Kylo going to commence here in a few moments. Taking a look at the map as we have both teams doing their pregame buffs. It looks like Edmonton heading towards the windmill off the start of this one, and a little bit of a defensive split coming out from Zero counterplay as Kyuhu going to get ahead of moves and look for potential crosses coming out from the side of the red team.
Yeah, it looks like Zora is going to be rotating far now against a Mesmer here, Dr. Kyuhu, so that one is going to take a while, although we are going to be seeing moves actually pressure him already, as Zora is going to be hoping for Edison to add to this one. Dr. Kyuhu actually going to be rotating right on out of this one, as he is going to be leaving his teammate Moobs there to suffer against both Zor and Edison. I'm not sure about that rotation there, and now Kyuhu is going to come back, but it's kind of late here as we already saw Moves taking a lot of pressure, still at 50% HP now, and it looks like he's going to be looking to take down Zor, who's, look at the condition pressure on him.
Wow.
Zor already eliminated here, and I don't think that Edison has the ability to res this one up.
Threw down the Shadow Refuge. He's trying to go in for it. Shadow steps over him, coming back. Don't think it's going to happen. Like you said, the double time warp from Kyuhu just to finish the job, make sure that Moves can put out that necessary DPS. Now trying to take down Edison, who is under so much pressure, in a lot of trouble here. Able to cleanse the Torment, is still not in the best position, but gets a steal onto Kyuhu. Should be okay, and both teams now taking a 1 cap for themselves.
Yeah, and Edison's going to be trying to rotate into mid, trying to find a gap here to open up a lot of damage and maybe onto Aerodynamic, as it looks like that is going to be their first option. However, he ports out and gets hit by Hypno with that Sword 3. He's going to follow him through there, and Edison now going to get stomped out, and Aerodynamic is now looking kind of like he's going to be okay now as he rotated out, and honestly, blue team looking like they're going to be making a little bit of a comeback here with just 2 minutes into this match.
Zor's got to defend against Moobs, who's looking to take on this 1v1. I'd give Zor this the upper hand in this matchup 100%, so not sure what Moobs is hoping to accomplish here. I doubt it's going to go in his favor, especially when Zor has the cap, played as defensively as his want, but back at that mid node, Edison making a push actually for the mansion, attempting at a decap, will be met by Hypno in the roads here. So both teams doing a really good job at the beginning stages of this game.
Yeah, they've kind of been able to meet each other at least a little bit here, as it's really, really close actually so far, and no team has really been able to get a clear advantage on this mid cap, although Edmonton kind of setting up a lot of damage, a lot of potential for kills actually, as Aerox is getting kind of low here, and we are actually seeing Aerox get a full heal already. However, looking at Moves, who just rotated into this mid-fight, is now at about 50% HP, doesn't have his heal, does drop there to Edison, and it looks like they're going to be going for the stomp. Doesn't actually hit, doesn't, as they do get the res back up, and Moves is going to be okay for the time being. And still, 1-to-1 caps across the board. No one winning this mid-fight as of yet, as Moves is going to be going again for some heals here, and it doesn't look like Red Team's going to be able to jump on him quickly enough to actually get a kill.
Kyuhu looking for a decap. Zor going to meet him halfway. Kyuhu brings the portal. Moves coming through, looking to try and take down Zor. Zor will be able to hold on for quite some time here, especially if he gets his Astro Form, gets force ready and gets those heals from it. It looks like he will. He's going to be okay. Chudak going to come support him in what ways he potentially can, but there's so much damage as Aerox is now in the area as well. Look at the Condi's on to Zor right now. I don't think he's going to make it through on this one, as Chudak going in for the res, but the stomp connects from Moobs, and the 2-cap now coming out here despite Zor dying on the side notes.
Yeah, and Chudat and Edmonton being able to hold this for a little bit longer is going to make all the difference in the world, with Edison getting that decap, and looks like he's actually going to be in a fight now with Hypno, and we have to remember that this is a condition Revenant that we have to kind of, for Edison's sake, kind of worry about for him, because the pressure that's going to come out from this Revenant is just going to be so insane here, as Edison does indeed drop, but is going to be pushed into his SR, and now Caden is in a position where he can actually go for the res, and does actually get it. So now it's going to be a 2v1 on Hypno. Actually, instead, we're going to be seeing Caden stick around. Aerodynamic going to be rolling in as well, though. So this is going to be a 2v2 here, as Hypno drops to about 50% HP. Aero going to be able to get that full heal, though, if Hypno ever needs it. and this is going to be probably neutralized for a little while longer, as we are still seeing a 1-to-1 cap, 143 to 100. So a little bit of an advantage for red team, but it seems like Zero Counterplay is able to find some holes, as Edmonton does indeed drop, and Zor now at about 40% HP, getting down a little bit lower. Actually, the conditions all over him, and he drops as well. And now Chudat is going to be the only person left on this windmill node. But the thing is,
they have 3 people over here now, so they're still trying to take down Chudat, who not going to be able to survive for much longer. Has a rebound up in a second, but isn't able to get that off. So we will see that decap and potentially the full cap coming out here on the side of this blue team. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Edmonton coming off a respawn, trying to make a move. It looks towards this mansion node, as we will have the first 2 cap in quite some time coming out here on the side of Zero Counterplay, who are looking to try and take their lead now. Just under 10 minutes left in this game, as they are looking at 2 cap and a decap. This is a really good spot for Zero Counterplay to be in. What this red team needs right now is to make a full regroup. They can't scramble all over the map and hope for success.
Yeah, they absolutely, I have to agree. I mean, they absolutely need to get a regroup going. They need to kind of coalesce. They need to get everybody together, and they need to take a kill. And they have the opportunity right here with Aerodynamic going down, but it doesn't look like they're actually going to be able to finish the job, as he gets right on back up. And it looks like they are not going to be able to get anything here, as Aerodynamic is going to get a little bit of a heal off here, get back up to 60% HP now. Looking okay for the time being, but Moobs and Aero are very, very low. This is what they need to go for. This is the point where they need to definitely exploit a weakness in Aerodynamic, getting so low here. Look at the damage coming out of that air overload there as well.
This is where blue team could potentially crumble if they're too greedy right now. Aerodynamic is going to Vaporform. They're going in for the res. Oh! Doesn't look like Edmonton's able to get that stomp, so he's back up in the fight, and they can just continue to hold this 2 cap. Knowing Zor is dead at the midpoint, they can afford to let Aerox sit there, wait for him off a respawn, look where Zor is going to go, to the windmill, or they keep right off the spawn. We actually see Edmonton taking the downstate, the res coming out there from Chudat and company, and look at this lead continue to build for Zero Counterplay.
Yeah, they're definitely proving right now that they need a victory, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to get that victory, because I mean right now they're sitting at 0-2, and they're just trying everything that they can to make sure that they get a victory on their board, and it looks like this is going to be a possibility for them, as Caden falls now.
We did see a really good play actually coming out there from Q, who got just onto the point just in time as Edison looked to get the decap, and a really good portal, I must say. That's saving their only cap, allowing them to continue to build the lead. But like you said, Caden's in the downstate. That's not going anywhere in his favor. And blue team, once again, taking the 2 cap. Looking for a big push at the midpoint, though, from both of these teams, as it is still uncontested. I'm just surprised that Zero Counterplay was able to do this and consistently hold on to this 2 cap for themselves against Easy Peasy, who looked very strong last week.
Yeah, it looks like right now with the 2 cap, with this heavy advantage right now, if they can hold on here, Hypno getting kind of low over on the mansion, but it looks like Arrow's going to be able to get a little bit of a heal for him, but Edmonton and Edison all over him right now. He's sitting now about 20% HP. Chudat going to add to the pressure, and it looks like they have a shot at maybe taking him out. However, he's just dodging all over the place right now, staying away from as much pressure as he possibly can, and Arrow going to try to put down some counter pressure just to kind of peel them away a little bit here, as we are going to be seeing Hypno get a little bit healthier and now be in a position where he can finally get some more damage out, as Eric's comes in as well, and they might actually look to take out Chudat.
Oh my goodness, he's able to get his heal off just as he swapped to that Dragon Stance, and still under so much pressure as Edmonton, excuse me, is on top of him with that Dragon Hunter. This 2 cap still going for them. They are going to be up to a 200-point lead in a matter of moments, but a decap surfaced over here at the windmill, as it looks like looks like Moves wasn't able to make it onto the point, or was forced off of it rather, in the 1v1 against Zor, who, like I said earlier, has the clear upper hand in this. I wouldn't be surprised to see Moves forced off of this node, forced to the mid node, where he definitely could help out Chudat. Or this is Caden at this midpoint, and try and take out Q.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Edmonton has done a great job so far with the Dragon Hunter and setting up a lot of damage for his team, and Edison taking clear advantage of that, getting those backstabs when there is an opportunity to do so. But honestly, even with all those things aligning, they still have yet to really get a really, really good play in this map so far. And Chudat right now getting very, very low. Hypno just rolling all over the place here, and it doesn't look like they're going to have any hope, at least for now, to come back in this map, at least, because they just have, like I said, not been able to find any opening at all throughout this entire match.
It's been quite some time since Easy Peasy's actually picked up a cap for themselves, sitting at 160 for quite some time now. Judat has Condi's taking on him, trying not to move. That Torment is going to get them cleansed. Should be okay for the time being. Using that terrain to his advantage. No one's able to get to him. Oh, it does knock down Hypno, but even so, this is an incredible game from Zero Counterplay. To say the least, they should be able to clean, as long as they can continue to do what they've been doing all game long, they should be able to clean up the rest of the fights. From Easy Peasy, though, I would like to see them get a regroup and at least get some kills like they almost had on a Kyuhu. We haven't seen a full team like fight from the red team since like the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Honestly, this was at least their opportunity to do so. It looks like they are going to be leaving this one, as we are going to see seeing them spread out a little bit here. Hypno now going to be under a little bit of a 1v2 until we are going to be seeing Kyuhu take his position on the point, and that is going to be the case, as now they're looking to put some counter pressure down onto Edmonton. And again, we have to remember that the condition pressure that's actually going to be dropped on top of either Edison or Edmonton is going to be definitely far too much for them to deal with. They're going to be forced off. I mean, as long as you can apply those conditions quickly, they're going to be in a position where they're not going to be able to actually deal with the pressure, and they're going to have to either leave or die. And this is exactly what we're watching here, where Edison and Edmonton, although they have all of this damage at their disposal, they're not able to get a lot going with it until Zor, their teammate, is going to be able to come in and heal them up.
And even if we do see a member on the side of blue go down here, remember Kyuhu has that time warp at his disposal. So if we do see Hypno go down, he can play as aggressive as he wants, knowing that Q is in the area, can easily get rezzed by him, knowing his team is there to support him. And look, we are at over 420 for the blue team now, and Edmonton taken into the downstate. Oh, there's the time warp actually coming out there from Kyuhu, trying to just make sure they get that stomp, because that was crucial as long as they can continue to hold on at this mansion node. 340 left in this game. It looks like Zero Counters play to take.
Yeah, and with 2 more kills to add to the checklist there, it looks like they're going to be able to check those ones off very, very quickly, and they're going to get 10 more points, and they're going to be just 50 points away after this kill on Edison here from victory. 3:20 left on the clock. There's just no way for Red Team to come back at this stage of the game. I mean, Blue Team is going to take this. Zero Counterplay is potentially just 1 game away from having their first series win. Actually, I mean, first of all, this is their first map win of the whole tournament.
Map win.
Or of the whole league, rather, and this is going to be potentially their first series win if they can take this second map here.
Yeah, if they can continue to keep up what they're doing here on the Battle of Kylo, transition over to the Temple of Silent Storm, and still continue their dominance, have that success they were having here, that's going to mean a lot for them. They're going to have that head-to-head victory against Easy Peasy if everything does play out. You know, we're talking in the future after the next game or two. But even so, this is just a really, really good display from Zero Counterplay. You got to credit their mobility, all their rotations, and their team fights have went in their favor for most, if not all, of this game.
Yeah, and it looks like with 20 points left to spare, Blue Team, aka Zero Counterplay, is going to be able to hold on here, and they are going to be able to take this first game in just a matter of time. Looks like Red Team is going to fight it out all the way through. You got to give them a little bit of respect for that one. You know, despite the fact that they know they're going to be losing this one, they are holding on, trying to make sure that they at least show that they are capable of winning some of these fights here as they try to take Aerox out at the midpoint, and it's again 5 points away till this victory for Zero Counterplay, and they are just trying to get a kill here at the end of this match as Aerox now at about 10%. They are not going to be able to get it. He does drop after the timer, but that is going to be 500 to 193 in favor of Zero Counterplay. Moving now on to the next map, where honestly, how do you kind of feel about that with these compositions? Who do you think is going to be able to take Temple?
I feel like just the dominance that we saw from Zero Counterplay there is going to transition. I think it's just their better rotations, their better team fights, and I think their better awareness overall, even despite any composition differences, is just going to give them the upper hand.
Really, yeah. I mean, I have to agree to an extent. I mean, the thing about this composition for the red team that I'm not really sure about is that I think that they're going to kind of try to play those 5 points. And if they do that, I think they're going to lose. And the reason being is that when those Revenants get out there, I'm not sure how I see Edmonton and Edison playing out. I'm not sure how I see Zor handling a 1v2 when there's a conditioned Revenant pressuring him down. There's 3 Revenants that they have to worry about from Zero Counterplay, and I'm not sure if they spread themselves then, if they're going to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw this red team, Easy Peasy, on Temple of the Silent Storm really do well against Never Lucky last week. We saw a lot of great plays from Edison and Edmonton on this Temple of the Silent Storm. So we'll have to see if they're able to do that in this one or zero counterplay, able to keep up their efforts. Let's head over to our second map in this series and see what we have. Any changes do you think we could see? It looks like we are going to have a swap. I believe this is Edison over to the Revenant.
Yeah, Revson actually there. Yeah, so Edison, for the first time in as long as I can remember, Edison getting off of the Thief and playing the Revenant here. So he's going to be making an adjustment. And we just actually talked about how I wasn't really sure how the Thief would play out, you know, against this composition of pretty much just all Revenants. I mean, 3 Revenants on the other team. But making this adjustment, I like this. I'm still curious to see what Edmonton's going to bring to the table. I mean, I know for a fact that he's going to need a little bit more condition removal if he plans to take on some 1v1s, which if they play that 5-point, if they play that 4-point, they're going to need in pretty much all those situations. So it's going to be interesting to see what they bring to the table, and I'm looking forward to seeing this match.
And Q, who had some really good defensive portals in the last game, he was on top of it, making sure people weren't getting decaps around the map when he needed to be on his home point. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the same good efforts from him in this game, and I think that could give them the upper hand in some ways or another. But Zor over to the Mesmer now. Moving over from that Ranger, he's looking to take up the bunker spec as well with that Sentinel's Amulet.
Yeah, and he, again, I mean, this is a player that played Ranger a lot, played Druid a lot, of course, since the expansion, but has a lot of experience on Mesmer as well, has had some experience playing this Chronomancer as well, played the tank a little bit over the course of the last week, so he does have a good understanding of what to do. But the biggest thing is that Caden is going to be moving off of that Mesmer and now also playing a Revenant here. So they have 2 Revenants, they have that Mesmer, and we are also seeing a huge switch. Actually, Edmonton not playing what we're used to seeing him play either.
I don't think I've ever seen him on the Engineer for that matter.
And he is, yeah, on the Engineer, and he's going to be playing Marauder there with Rune of Durability, so that's going to be Inventions, Alchemy, and Scrapper. But, I mean, Caden picking up another, they have 2 Viper.
How do you think this change is going to fare for him? I mean, this is not their normal. This is like this is a B plan right here. And,
yeah, this is the fallback. This is for sure the fallback. I'm not really confident. I'm not really feeling that they're confident with it because, again, this is something we've never seen Edison on a Revenant. We've never seen Edmonton on. I mean, let's actually change that entirely. We've never seen on Edison, we've never seen Edison on anything other than a Thief. We've never seen Edmonton on anything other than a Guardian. I mean, it's never really been something that we've ever really experienced from these 2 guys. And Caden, of course, this is a first, at least in my mind, that I've ever seen him on a Revenant as well. So, I mean, I'm not sure. Of course, Zor, in a tournament setting, this is the first time we've seen him on a tank Mesmer. I mean, I'm not sure, man.
That
This is going to be
might speak a
interesting.
little bit about their confidence in that setup and even rotations and team synergy as a whole. And they're hoping to fix something, for that matter, on this Temple of the Silent Storm's head to the map as we have opening splits for both of these teams looking to get a victory here. As Zero Counterplay is, of course, up 1-0 in this set. They're going to be sending Q to the altar. Caden looks like he'll be heading to the temple, and Crossers once again, that seems to be the norm of the week, heading back onto the map though. What we got going on here?
Yeah, it looks like we have both Edison and Edmonton making a move here, always playing together it seems, and they're going to be trying to get onto the point. Don't make it in time, as Alter was capped out by the blue team, and Edmonton and Edison are now trying still even to hold on to this, but Moob now dropping a ton of pressure into Edison as he is getting so low here. Look at Edison's HP, and now he's going to be just trying to stay alive as he is in stealth from that stealth gyro there, and he's still now at about 30% HP. Doesn't have a heal for himself at all either. Has that legend swap though, not really making any use of it.
And we saw Chuda and Aerox both make way to this point. This is going to be a big fight. We do see the cap, I believe that was at the temple then, coming out there from the red team. So are going to match the caps here as we are just 1 minute into this game. Remember, Q-Hoo does have that second time warp at his disposal. If Moobs does drop down, he isn't looking too healthy here. He might actually, look at the con, he's taking the resistance, keeping him alive for the time being, but that's not going to last forever. He is going to be taken out here.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we actually saw Hypno taken out by Caden, and Caden going to go ahead and make sure that he solidifies that full cap. Although they already did have it, he wanted to make sure that it looked like that on the top of our screen there, make sure, and he's going to be able to rotate back out over to the midpoint where we are seeing Zor and Arrow in a 1v1. However, looking back over at the altar, it looks like we are seeing actually moves get pressured once again now. It seems like we haven't seen him over 50% HP in so long as he's sitting now again at 30%. It drops that quick. Chudat might actually follow, and it looks like Moves getting back up here. They're going to try to bring Chudat back up.
Oh, the stomp from Kihu, as we do see that Vapor Form at the midpoint. We actually had a member of the blue team go down, but got him back up, thankfully. We just briefly went to that. And Edison now taking down Chudat, will be eliminated. Edmonton might follow in pursuit. He's running around with 8 stacks of Torment. He should have stopped a little bit ago, able to cleanse those and keep himself alive. That would have been devastating if he had actually been taken out from that. And
I don't think he blasted that water field.
I don't
think he blasted that water field at all.
And that now might show something about that then, unfortunately for his. And look at the condies.
I don't think he blasted that one either.
Unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Should have stayed on the Guardian, if you ask me.
Oh, man.
Despite the score not being terrible for these guys right now, I still feel like zero counterplays.
Another opportunity. I'm not really. I think he blasted that one.
I think he might have, but Edmonton actually taken down at the midpoint, back up into the fight. We see a decap off a respawn from Edison, moving towards that altar node, as they will get that decap for themselves. And I think they should have maybe done something with Q. Q has actually got the portal at the midpoint if he wants to come back or bring members through to that altar.
Yeah, and they're actually slowly climbing back up to the points that Blue has been able to accumulate so far over the course of this match. But really, honestly, the team fight has been swaying so far towards this blue team as they pick up yet another kill here on Zor now. And Edmonton is getting extremely low once again, and Edmonton needs to get this this water blast off.
He does that time. I feel like he can make a little bit more use of that hammer as well with that water field. But anyhow, it looks like we will have stillness up. Blue team is going to get that cap once again over there at the altar. And we're going to see a little bit of a skirmish between Chudat potentially and Kyuhu. Kyuhu going in for the... Is he going to be able to get it? No, Chudat use that staff, able to at least hit him for the time being. We have a tie game right now with that cap over at the altar from Blue.
Yeah, so we do have a tie game, and that buff being up. I mean, Kyuhu's going to go for it. Not going to be able to get it as he is interrupted there by Edmonton. We're going to be seeing Chudat try to hold off Hypno as they all kind of coalesce over at this top buff. Looks like everyone's trying to get it, and Moves is trying to get it now with the precog.
Oh,
it does actually manage to get it with the well precog, and now he's going to be able to rotate out, and they do now have a 2-cap, so they're going to be able to pull away a little bit here. Edmonton trying to get over towards that altar point, but not able to make it all the way before he's stopped in his tracks by Moves and Arrow, and they're going to be shifting over towards this gate fight where, I mean, this actually could be a huge fight, as the only people not going to be involved in this is Edison and Moves.
Yeah, and they're going to look for a 1v1 at the temple, but like you said, that 2-cap going to allow for them to get a little bit of breathing room with the score. Caden, actually taken down, was pursued by Aerox, who is going to be able to get that quickness stop. Caden not even attempting to knock him back and delay the inevitable death, as none of his team was actually progressing towards the midpoint. Now the upper hand is in favor of the blue team. Actually, Kyuhu looking to push towards that temple and get a decap there with Moves, I believe that's over there in that 1v1 with Edison.
Yeah, and Moves actually looks like he's doing a pretty good job. However, since he knew he was getting him pretty low there, he was actually going a little bit too aggressive, in my opinion, and actually took a lot of pressure himself. And now Edison is kind of alone here. It looks like Moves trying to finish the job on him, as he only has 2k health left and doesn't really have any heal for himself.
Moves.
He does have the 6 stacks, though.
Moves has Shiro up in a second. Will be able to catch up with him. Didn't really do a whole lot. I don't think that was the proper time to use. Is going to be back up. He's just running for his life right now, trying to stay alive. Edison doing what he can. Oh, this is tough for him, because they continue. You know, the output of Torment will eventually kill him here from Moves. And there he's finally taken down, as he ran around, I believe, 2 times there. And the stomp coming out.
A little bit of that ring around the rosy in this one, for sure.
Yeah, but making good use of that terrain, trying to keep Moves away from him. And I think we will see Caden taken down in this decap come out.
Yeah, looking over at the altar here, Aerox and Hypno trying to take on Chudat and Edmonton. And so far, Aerox has been the one that's taken a lot of heat here, as we actually did see Caden fall. And now Moves actually is going to be able to get the decap in just a matter of time, probably, with the help of Edison's going to roll in here. He's going to be able to take out Moves. That was a good pickup.
But the portal from Kyuhu.
Oh, the knockback too!
Oh, Kyuhu went back through the portal instead of getting the res.
Oh no!
He might be able to get this still. I think he could. He gets him.
He's definitely got this.
He gets him back up, but just a little bit of sloppiness. We do have Tranquility and Stillness up. Looks like Edmonton is down below, up at the top side. We do have Chudat uncontested currently, will be met by Hypno though, and still anybody's game, but near a 50-point lead in the favor of Zero Counterplay.
Yeah, Edison was eventually able, with Caden's help there, actually, to take out moves, and they actually go ahead and get that stomp as well. And now they're looking to defend their cap against Q-Hoo. It looks like he's going to be pulling out though, and they're going to be trying to put some damage on him while he does leave. So now they're going to be able to focus on these two caps, actually on bottom and top now, both Stillness and Tranquility here. And Edmonton now taking a lot of pressure against Aerox, who's trying to get this one done quickly so that he can get this 3-cap for his team. I mean, honestly, he doesn't even need it at this point. At this point, all he really needs to do is just stall this fight out. But, I mean, a kill is even better, and he might get that.
I think he could potentially, if Edmonton is successfully blasts his, he blasts that turret field. So we will be okay as Slick Shoes for defensive maneuver if he wants to, but just uses his hammer into that pillar, so really doesn't make good use of it. And I'm starting to question the engineer call on his side, but he's hanging on against Aerox. Let's take a look elsewhere at the Stillness buff. Still got a little bit of a skirmish going on up there.
Yeah, up at the Stillness buff, we're actually seeing Hypno getting absolutely obliterated by 3 members of Easy Peasy here, and he's getting down to about 25 before he got a huge heal actually there from Crystal Hibernation. He's still now taking a lot of pressure. Could actually drop very, very shortly as Edison trying to finish the job on him, and the conditions are still on him, but he's able to get them peeled off a little bit with the resistance there as well, helping out.
He's barely staying alive. And Noob's going in for the res. Oh, really nice surge in the miss and a knockback from Hypno. That was a really incredible play coming out there from Noob's. Going to keep his teammate alive.
Yeah, and Edison now under a lot of pressure as well, as he's now at about 20% HP, dropping down actually to get away from a lot of the pressure, but he's going to be pursued now by Moobs and take a fall and a tumble down to his demise where Moobs is going to go.
That reminds me of another player on another team, like actually Bear, did he die on the Kylo? I believe it was Bear. So, even so, continuing to build their lead, Aerodynamic is going to be able to get this cap at the midpoint as Zor went down to help out Edmonton, who was in a 1v2 against Moobs and Aerox. And Blue Team getting that 2-cap for themselves, just under 6 minutes left in this game. At the top buff, though, we do see Caden taken into the down state, and I think this will be a 4-cap here.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing Hypno go for it here, and it looks like he's going to be able to get that. I don't see anybody taking that away from him. So yeah, the 4-cap is in favor of Zero Counterplay, and this could be it. This could be the moment where we see Zero Counterplay surging ahead and taking this game 2 and getting their first win.
The 3-cap though! What? We were looking at the temple. I saw members of the Blue Team down there. Did not expect that. And Stillness is back up. We saw Edison try to cap it, even though Q was there, oddly enough. But this 3-cap, I mean, this is not over then. That's what I love about this map. The fact that it is never over with Tranquility in play.
Yeah, and Hypno right now is getting a little bit of pressure from Chudat, but Edmonton going to be able to move in and help that one out. So they're going to be able to pretty much successfully hold on to Temple, at least in my opinion, because they're going to be able to take Hypno out. And it looks like he's trying really hard to stay alive.
I do not believe what just happened right now. What looked like a clear victory on the side of Zero Counterplay. It turns out for a 3-cap comeback maneuver on the side of Easy Peasy. And this Blue Team is lost.
I mean, nothing makes you feel more like an idiot than a good game of Temple of the Silent Storm, man. I mean, honestly, they were able to get a decap here on mid finally, so there is still hope for Zero Counterplay. But if Red Team can bunker down on these 2 side nodes and just hold everything, they're going to be looking pretty good for the future here and maybe taking this into game 3 as Chudat pushes off. Oh no, pushes off Q-Hoo, and they have the precog, and they have the 4-cap now, and they will be surging ahead. How things have turned so quickly.
What is this game right now? We just saw a total domination from Zero Counterplay. In that cap, Hypno's now under a lot of pressure as well. The 4-cap gonna give them the lead. Something has to get going, but Aerox being taken down by Chudat and Caden. I fear for them that we will be moving to an unexpected game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, unexpected is the best term to describe what this game was. I mean, unexpected, definitely.
Unprecedented. I mean, this doesn't happen.
A little bit, perhaps, of a throw. I mean, I don't even know.
I'd say that is a throw. That is, by definition, what a throw is considered. and they had it in the bag. They got lazy. They didn't attack him with Tranquility Buff. They weren't paying attention. Whatever went through their heads down there,
I
they
mean,
got
could it have
lazy.
been a precog, though? I mean, you never really know. They have that Mesmer still in Zoran. I mean, we weren't even expecting it to happen, so we didn't even see what happened.
100%, and 30 points away from victory. They have to get a decap here. We do have the second Tranquility Buff up in 35-ish seconds, but will it really come into play?
We are not making it. We're going to be seeing game 3 as Moob falls there, and we are going to be seeing Aerox go down as well, but he's going to probably actually get right back up, and he's going to be staying alive for a little bit longer, as he is going to witness, as someone who is living the demise of a game that they should have won. 501 to 411 now, actually easy peasy taking it. Now 1-1 for both teams, moving into game 3 here as we go to Forest, actually, for I believe the first time.
First time today on Forest. What an impressive comeback stage there by Easy Peasy, showing us they're not giving up. 0 counterplay, throwing that game, if you ask me. That was just impressive play. I don't even want to say impressive play. That was just crazy that they were able to get the Tranquility Buff.
Yeah, the Trank buff actually, I mean, as everybody can assume, was the pivotal moment. That
100.
was everything that they needed, and now they're going to be kicking themselves because, I mean, what if Easy Peasy takes this one? They should have won that second map. They should have won. I mean, everything points to the fact that they should have won. They were so far ahead. They had the 4 cap. All they needed to do was stall out Tranquility long enough for them to hold on to everything and just win. I mean, it was just a matter of probably about 2 minutes.
And I feel like 0 counterplay, like I said before, I feel like they just got lazy. I felt like they thought they had the victory, and maybe not necessarily just because that Tranquility, but I felt like they could have dominated all over the map. Unrelentless. Yeah. But let's head on to our third map as we have both teams joined up on the Forest of Niflhel, looking to claim a victory. The winner of this set will be getting a victory on their side for the Pro League standings. And obviously no stillness, obviously no Tranquility, but with 25 points from Chieftain and Svanier, there is still a little bit of that comeback potential that we saw in the last map from secondary mechanics.
All right, so we do have confirmation. What happened at Tranquility was Aerox just completely being oblivious. There was precog.
So it was just not paying attention.
There was no single precog. He literally just didn't see someone capping it right next to him, and they got it, and he cost his team the game, and perhaps the series if
it comes down
takes
to
this one.
100%. That's just, I don't know. That's just not being in it. You can't ever count out teams. I mean, these are the 8 best teams on North America. You can't count out any of them. It doesn't matter who they are. You can't count them out, and that's exactly what they kind of did there, just giving them the free cap and giving him that victory there, because that was 0 counterplay's game. And now moving over to Forest and Niflhel, looking forward, what do you think? I mean, Edmonton's still on the engineer. I don't really think he should be on the engineer here, but just from watching us play last game on it, but even so,
I think he's learned to blast the water field.
Okay, he has, definitely. That much is evident, but how do you think 0 counterplay is going to react in this next game? They can't be sad in their void. They cannot be depressed about that, losing that game. They need to
cannot get tilted here. That's honestly what it comes down to. You can't get tilted by that loss. I mean, it's a harsh loss. It's one that they deserved when you have a player that's oblivious to something as pivotal as a Trank buff, and then completely sliding everything downhill, losing stillness right after, getting 4 caps, losing team fights all over the map, and then basically giving away your free victory at that point, at least, to the other team. They can't let that kind of thing bother them, because they, in my mind, are still the team to take this set completely here, and I still think they're going to be able to take it 2-1, but they cannot let what just happened affect them in this map.
Yeah, that I can't see that happening again, even in this scenario, even with Chieftain and Svanier on the side of the blue team. They've learned the lesson. I don't think that'll ever happen again to them, at least, for their sake, hopefully not. And coming on to the Forest of Niflhel, I still got to give it to 0 counterplay. I just don't think, despite the comp swap, I really do believe that Easy Peasy should go back to their normal main classes. Even though Zor has experience on the Mesmer, I still don't feel like it's his best class. I think they should go back to their roots, back to the best stuff, because it's definitely true that Battle of Kylo and Temple of the Silent Storm are the 2 least played maps by every team. So moving on to one that they're more familiar with, I think they could go back to their roots and definitely, give 0 counterplay a run for the money here. We are just waiting for these teams to ready up here, and get underway with our Forest of Niflhel game, as they are obviously tied up 1-1 after that impressive comeback by Easy Peasy. Zero counterplay, like we mentioned, they can't be on edge here. They got to get their game together and forget about that last game. Move on to this one, because this is it. The difference between winning that last one and winning this one isn't anything in terms of points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dropping a map at all is not really, it's not going to have any effect at all. I mean, really, in the long term, it's not going to really have any effect at all for them. They need to make sure that they just win these series out, because that's what's going to accumulate the points for them. That's what's going to keep them ahead of some of the other competitions. So they need to make sure that they focus up and get this win here, because this is where they're going to potentially, at least I hope for their sake, get their first win of the season, because they need this one.
All right, let's move on to the map as we have opening splits in our game number 3 on the Forest of Niflhel, as 2 crosses coming out on the side of Zero counterplay. It looks like 2 on the side of Easy Peasy as well. Maybe a little bit of a skirmish going on over here, as it looks like Edmonton and Zor don't want Hypno to have anything to do. Actually, the other way around, they don't want anything to do with this henge point. We're going to see a 1v1 between the Ellies on the mid node. So side nodes it is for both of these teams.
Yeah, and Move's already taken so much pressure here, as he's now about 60% HP, trying to take in his 2v1 versus both Edison and Caden, the 2 revenants for this Easy Peasy team. We are seeing actually blue team already pick up a kill on Edmonton here, the scrapper for Easy Peasy, and they're both teams now having a cap each, and it looks like everything is going to shift slowly towards that keep, where Moves kind of moved everybody over there himself actually, and he's now at about 60%, kind of looking for an opportunity to dive in towards Edison, who's taken a little bit of pressure himself.
Yeah, he's got a lot of condies on him. We do see a time warp actually coming out on the side of Q. I believe that was from Q. Yes, it was indeed. And a 10-point lead nonetheless for Zero counterplay, as a 4v4 will emerge here. Just got a bit of a 1v1 going on over at the mine point, but even so, no one in a whole lot of danger over here. It's just I fear that there's a lot of burst potential onto Q here, who's actually taking a lot of damage. Gonna get down one of his wells and keep himself in good measures. But now Caden's under a lot of pressure. Look at the condies on the side of this red team.
Yeah, I mean, looking over at mine, actually, Edmonton versus Hypno. Edmonton's trying to stay alive here, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to actually last too much longer, as Hypno is doing a pretty good job of commanding this this area here, and might actually get a decap before he's able to get the kill. I mean, Edmonton, forced into the Elixir S, does get the decap here, so blue team now with the only cap on this whole map, and Hypno actually in a position to actually finish the job. Looking back over at the mid fight though, actually, we are going to be seeing Caden pull off. We are seeing actually Zor pull off as well. They're trying to split everywhere, because they know Edmonton's probably going to be losing that fight over at far, at their home node, and they need to make sure that they kind of cover their bases and maybe get something somewhere else.
I mean, with that being said, like you said, the decap came out over at the mine point, allowing for Zero counterplay to, try to reap the rewards of holding on to the henge still. And Moves is going to get a little bit of help from Aerodynamic, but still, fights all over the map. Back over here, it looks like Edmonton taken into the downstate. Nice knockback from Hypno came out, as Aerox going in for the quickness stop, going to pick it up. Didn't want anything to do with that, as actually he gets the kill on Hypno, and Hypno almost gets stopped, but Aerox going to get him back up. That was a very close battle indeed, and now Caden probably wishes he would have went out of that fight. Still, a pretty good effort on his part.
Yeah, Eric's going to be able to roll out of this one with about 2k HP, and it looks like they're going to be rotating over to the mid fight, where they're going to be met probably by Zor and Edison, as well as their other teammates who are just kind of sticking around, making sure that Edmonton doesn't make any moves over at the crossroads. So we're going to be seeing a pretty interesting fight develop over on the midpoint, where we already see the 2-cap in favor of blue team. It looks like they're going to be able to hold on to that one, as Boobs hasn't moved, and we are seeing Hypno have not moved at all either. And Caden going to be looking to take that 1v1 versus Hypno. In the meantime, though, on this midpoint, we are seeing a lot of damage being thrown everywhere.
Saw a portal play actually come out on the side of Zor, who brought through Edmonton, along with, I believe that was Caden, as they're looking to try and get on top of Moves, who is left alone here. And will be able to survive for the time being, but look at the Condi burst coming out onto him. They are going to take him down, going in for the quick stop. It looks like Zor will get it, but Aerox is able to get on the point. And the nick of time, as they now have a 100-point lead holding onto this 2-cap, and Aerodynamic in the area as well. This is their home node, so Moves will be off a respawn. He will be able to get to this node quickly, and they should be okay. in terms of staying alive here. Decap, though, does come out over here at the mine point. Probably a surge in the mist coming out there from Kaden.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the case. However, I mean, he's still getting so very low right now, about 20% HP. Does have his heal inside a Demon Stance here, so he's going to be able to get at least a little bit, but I'm not really thinking that he's going to be able to hold on for too much longer, as Hypno looks like he has a pretty good shot at taking him out. And I mean, it's going to be back and forth. I mean, honestly, these Rev duels are always just going to be back and forth, especially when you consider that one of them does have that Herald, and it looks like with the conditions being put down on Kaden, a lot of that healing from the Crystal Hibernation is going to be eliminated.
Edmonton's in the area. Let's see if he can land the Slick Shoes here if he wants to, or what he's going to be doing. It looks like he's just going right on top of Hypno. I like that move from him, and now Hypno is going to be taken out. Pretty good move there coming out. Good rotation from Edmonton as Red Team cleans up this fight and get the cap at the midpoint. But Edison's moving over here as well. They want to make sure they secure this mine point before Kyuhu, who is very tanky, gets on this node. Has Blink up in a few seconds. Might get on the node, does not, as Red Team will claim their first 2 cap of the game. We also see Aerodynamic moving over here as well, trying to support Kyuhu.
Yeah, and Kyuhu moved into a 1v3, so a little bit too aggressive there, at least in my opinion, as Kyuhu is now getting pressured so hard by these conditions. And it looks like he's going to be dropping as well. So not only are they going to get a 2 cap, but they're also going to get another free kill out of it as well. They're going to be able to chase Aerodynamic all the way out over to mid and probably draw a little bit of cooldowns out of him as well. At least get him swapping attunements, making sure he doesn't have all of his skills ready. And now Chudat is extremely low right now, as he's at about 30% HP. It looks like his team is going to be able to get here in time to give him some heals and some peels there as well, and support him and get him back up. But Aerodynamic now taking a lot of pressure as well, as he's going now to about 30% in water, though, with that shout heal as well, going to be able to get himself back up pretty quick.
Kyuhu, I think, needs to make a move. Drop the portal, make a move to this mid node. There's no reason for him to sit around. We do have a bit of a 1v1 skirmish going to be going on between Kaden and Moobs, who Kaden actually gets the early opener onto Moobs. But this duel, we'll have to see how it progresses. But back at this midpoint, it looks like we are going to see Kyuhu start to make a move towards the midpoint as Red Team storming back in this game, still down near just under 100 points, but they're not out of it 100%. We do see a portal on the mid node. I believe that is for Zor, who left the node. There's a Time Warp actually coming out from Kyuhu. They're trying to take down Chudat, who I'm surprised they left Chudat alone here.
Yeah, Kaden gonna be going down actually, and we're gonna be seeing him actually probably fall pretty shortly. A lot of pressure being dropped on him, and he's gonna be getting even lower here, getting a little bit of peels from his team. Does have his heal back up, and he's gonna get a huge heal actually from that Malix because of all the conditions on top of him there. And we've got a pretty interesting 3v3 developing over on the mine point here.
With this 2 cap going on, we do have a bit of a chieftain push from Hypno, wanting to get the kill, going to get his team 25 extra points. No one even close to contest. It looks like Chudat might have saw chieftain move, but will pick up 25 points for his team and continue to keep their lead for the time being. But Moves is under a lot of pressure, and this 2 cap, consistent 2 cap from Easy Peasy, is really what's kept them in this game. And they're doing a really excellent job holding it on. Something I'd like to see from the blue team is exploit the fact that Chudat's sitting at the midpoint, put Kyuhu, put a portal down or something, or keep eyes on where Chudat's at and try and take the advantage that way, because they're not doing so good in this 3v3. Or 4v4, excuse me.
Moves and Aerox are getting so low right here. They are going to drop, and it is because of that gravity well that was set up by Zor, and they're going to be able to collect at least Moves and maybe even Aerox here, as it looks like they are going to be able to get that one. Dr. Kyuhu extremely low as well, 30% HP for him, and it looks like they might follow him out and get a kill, but Q is all over the place trying to stay alive. Time Warp coming out, and I don't think that I would have done that Time Warp. I think that was a cooldown waste right there.
Maybe he could have thrown down the Time Warp in hopes Aerodynamic would have gotten the res, but he also died out just outside of the Time Warp. I think Aerodynamic probably could have sat in it still and got the res, but there was so much pressure coming out from the red team. There was probably no use in that. But the decap, sneak decap from Moves. We do see an immediate portal come down from Zor. Kaden gonna come right through it and meet his match in a 1v1 once again. Really good play. Edmonton actually threw it as well, as they feel they have the upper hand, knowing Q-Who's off respawn. They can afford to plus this fight, but so is the rest of this blue team. We see Aerox coming out, trying to make this a 2v2. Moves is actually on the ground right now, and he will probably be taken out. We'll have to see if Aerox is gonna be enough to suffice for the time being, but this is easy peasy back in the game, 100%.
Moves is down here. Kaden getting extremely low, might actually fall as well. It looks like they're going to go in for a little bit of a res battle here, and Moves lost that one. as he's still now about to go down, and Kaden is back up, and Moves is lost here. Red team is still looking so good right now as they're just moments away from retaking the lead.
Exactly. Now Aerodynamic, it feels like we just saw that exact same thing happen just moments ago. Aerodynamic now making his way solo back to the mid with 3 members of Easy Peasy on him, and now they do take that lead in this mid fight. I'm not so sure I really condone it on the side of the blue team. They haven't made any progress with it, and they're doing the exact same thing they did before, and it didn't work for him. Moves is moving towards the mine, going to be in a 1v1 against Kaden once again. We just saw this like this is like the second or third time we've seen this exact move from the side of Zero Counter. Change it up because it's obviously not working for you.
And Dr. Kifu right now making a mistake, at least in my opinion, because he's rotating away. He was at least rotating away from his team as he was getting chased around by a Revenant at 20% HP, didn't have really any cooldowns for himself, and now he's going to be able to rotate into a fight, luckily for him, where Kaden actually
Moves with the quickness
plays. Oh, man.
That was crucial. I mean, it's coming down to the final minutes of this game. Move's still under a lot of pressure, but now they have the upper hand around the map. All they need to do is make sure they hold on to the hinge and make sure they can pick up this decap within a few moments here.
I mean, Moves gets the shovel award for this game, taking him down on a 1v2 and then also getting the stomp. I mean, that was a huge play for them if they're able to make something happen off of it right now. But honestly, I don't really think that they're going to be able to do anything.
They need to get a kill on Edmonton. Edmonton's in the down state. Remember, Cheatin and Funny are up. That could be potentially 50 points, but they don't get the kill onto them. With that being said, it could very well come down to a Funny or Chieftain kill, but near being 450 points on the side. But Edison's now taken down as well over here at the henge point. We do see one of the Revenants, Hypno, already making way on this Svanier. Caden's down as well. This could be a disaster in the making on the side of this red team.
Hypno going for that kill on Svanier. Edmonton in the area though, and it looks like they're going to try to trade a little bit here. Is Edmonton going to have enough to deal with it?
They have to get it.
He's giving it up.
Why is
Edmonton is giving it up?
Because Aerox is on Chieftain as well. They need this kill so bad they get it. Will it be enough though? Because Aerox is uncontested on Chieftain. Uncontested.
They need more than this, though. They need more than this.
They do.
The Chieftain kill is going to go in favor of blue team. They're getting extremely close, but they need something now, and they need it quick.
They need to get this. Is it. That's game. What is this? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Upsetting. I want to say upsetting Zero Counter play.
No, it's definitely not upsetting, but certainly they're going to be upset about it. And look at this. They're already leaving. You can tell that they are just so angry with themselves about this.
I mean,
I don't even know what to say at this point because, I mean, they should have won the last match. And we talked about this before where, I mean, they should have won and they basically gave it away. Unfortunately, Aerox, not watching that Tranquility, gave away that buff. They lost map control.
That was a team effort there on Forrestonville. That was a full team effort. They could have very well done something. They changed it up. They let them hold that 2-cap. They let Easy Peasy hold that 2-cap for so long. It's what won them that game, hands down. And they had a lead even for that matter, a massive lead early on. And we see that time after time with teams and just giving it up, letting them win that game. A valiant effort at the end, but just didn't work out for them.
Yeah, and honestly, as soon as they saw Edmonton pull away from that boss, I think that they should have been still kind of trying to throw everything that they had into points. Blue team, all of them from Zero Counterplay pulled off, tried to get the kill off on Svanier, and honestly, they didn't need to do that. They had someone. It was already below 50%. They already had someone on it. It's easy to 1v1 it once it's below 50%. I mean, I hope that they can kill it at that point. And they already saw Edmonton pull off. There was no one else in the area. They put way too much resources into that kill on the boss and then had nothing to go on following that kill.
Yeah, and a 2-1 victory, nevertheless, for Easy Peasy Lemon Squeezy, making the record 1-2. As Zero Counterplay will now be falling to 1-2. And that head-to-head matchup going to be going in favor of Easy Peasy. But looking at our next matchup, Never Lucky up against Apex Prime.
Actually, Zero Counterplay is 0-3.
Zero Counterplay is 0-3. Oh, yeah, you're all right. Zero Counterplay is 0-3 for that matter. So that's even more devastating on their end. Yep. Easy Peasy 2-1, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So actually pretty strong there on that end. But our next matchup, as I was saying, Never Lucky up against Apex Prime. What can we expect from this one?
Yeah, Never Lucky again. Roster instability there over the past couple weeks. They're looking for this to be the first week that they actually play with a roster that they're ready to play with, ready to go on with a composition that, again, ready to play with, ready ready to go on with a lot of practice that they've had with it, and they're hoping that with Apex being their first really good opponent with this composition that they're again ready with, that they can actually take it and maybe get an upset going. But Apex has been looking solid the last couple of weeks, so I'm not really sure if this is their moment to seize, but we'll have to see what happens in the coming matches.
We're going to head to a short break, guys, and when we're back, we'll have Never Lucky up against Apex Prime. Don't go anywhere.
You're no ordinary gamer. These are no ordinary gaming desktops. With a commitment to quality, uncompromising performance, and jaw-dropping design, Alienware pushes the limits to bring you the gaming experience you crave, because you demand nothing less than the ultimate gaming experience.
Welcome back to the Guild Wars 2 ESL Pro League for North America as we are arriving at our 4th match of the day. Never Lucky up against Apex Prime. I'm still thinking this should be an exciting one despite being in a 2-0 versus an 0-2 team.
It definitely could be. Of course, though, Never Lucky has yet another new player on their roster that they have to kind of get used to. And it's one of those situations where I think this might be something that they are able to adapt to because, I mean, they should be used to it at this point, having to deal with this kind of thing. But Apex, of course, has been looking solid. Not really sure how this was going to play out. I'm going to put my money on Apex, but we'll have to see. Never Lucky is looking for something here, so they're desperate.
All right, let's head on to our first match as we have both teams joined up on the Battle of Kylo. Over on the red, that would be Apex Prime, and over on the blue, Never Lucky takes away with the red.
All right, looking first at Trackful, aka Trackstar Prime here. He's going to be on Sword Shield staff with Rune Alyssa and Celestial Amulet. Going to be playing Corruption, Devastation, and Herald here. Next, we do have Quilja going to be on the Elementalist, of course, the staff, as we usually see him with Celestial Amulet, with Rune Soldier, going with Water, Earth, and the Tempest. Next, we do have Ostrich as well with the Necro, as we have seen him as of late, not playing the Engineer, and we're going to be looking at this Scepter Warhorn staff with Rune of Nightmare and Carrion Amulet. Going to be going up with Spite, Soul Reaping, and Reaper, I believe. I'm just Spite, Soul Reaping, Reaper. Nailed it. All right, cool. And then Morph going to be going with the Dragon Hunter. It's something that we haven't seen much of that lately, at least really kind of to any effect, since Zeus actually just got basically dumpstered by Absurd on Legacy of the Foefire. So he's going to be taking this one back with Longbow Sword Focus, with Rune of Trapper and Marauder Amulet, actually Valor, Virtues, and Dragon Hunter there. Tarsus going to be next with Sword, Shield, and Staff. Going to be playing with Celestial Amulet and Rune Alyssa here with Devastation, Corruption, and the Herald, and we already have done Ostrich, so that is the entirety of Apex Prime and their builds.
Taking a look over at Never Lucky, we have Olrun on the Mesmer today, running with the Staff, Sword Shield with Rune of Durability, along with Sentinel's Amulet. He'll be taking Chaos, Inspiration, and Chronomancer. Stalagta going to be on the Elementalist, running with the Dagger Focus, Rune of the Soldier, Celestial Amulet. He'll be taking Water, Earth, and Tempest. Bear will be on Revenant today. Man, he's been playing a lot of classes lately. Will be one of two. He's going to be on Mace, Axe with the Sword, Shield, and Rune of Durability. Viper's Amulet. He'll be taking Corruption, Retribution, and Herald. And Feoff probably going to be running something, the exact same build pretty much, running with that Sword, Shield. Mace, Axe with the Viper's Amulet and Rune of Durability. He'll also be running Corruption, Retribution, and Herald. And finally, the second Mesmer will be Steel. He'll be on the Sword, Shield with that Staff, Sentinel's Amulet, Rune of Durability with Chaos, Inspiration, and Chronomancer. So, 2 Mesmers, 2 Revenants. This is not something we are new to here.
Yeah, not at all. So this is definitely, I mean, Apex not taking this this composition that we've seen a little bit so far lately. They're going with 2 Revs still. However, they're opting for that Necromancer, something that we only see Absurd doing at this stage. Morph going to be on the Dragon Hunter, and then we have that Elementalist actually playing Staff as opposed to the Dagger Focus. So definitely an interesting comp on the side of Apex Prime, but I think that they have chops to take advantage, and I think that they're going to be able to do very well on this map, despite the fact that we're seeing a very conventional, or rather modernly traditional, is that even a thing?
Let's take a look at the map for our final set of the day between Never Lucky and Apex Prime. Ostrich Eggs heading to the Windmill. 3 members of Never Lucky going to be heading through their home node, so looking to make sure nothing crazy comes out on the side of the red team, as we already look to have a bit of a cross, potentially in Morph. Actually, no, it could potentially be Tarsus making a move. Stalagta is going to get on that point. A little bit of a diversion there with Morph in the area, but he will be met in a 1v2 here at the mansion.
Yeah, and Steel right now taking a lot of pressure over here on the Windmill, where, I mean, he actually lost the cap already because he mismanaged the continuum split there a little bit, and now Fav's going to have to come in and try to save him a little bit. Steel now still at about 40% HP. Did get the Mantra off a little bit, but he's not looking good. It looks like he's kind of struggling a little bit to kind of keep himself alive, as he does have a couple of blocks out there a little bit, and he looks like he's going to be pulling out. They don't have the cap, so there's no need for him to really be standing on it that much.
There's really not a whole lot he is doing or can potentially do right here. Morph just sitting on him, waiting to land his true shot and hit him and take him out for the most part, but that cap by Apex Prime going to hold true for quite some time. Let's take a look at the clock tower, where we have a bit of a skirmish going on between Tarsus, Quilja up against Bear and Olrun. So this fight, you know, this could go anyone's way, but it feels like Quilja needs to be a little careful here. He doesn't have a whole lot of cooldowns left.
Yeah, as an Elementalist, of course, being the tank on this point, I mean, he needs to be extremely careful because he doesn't have the same kind of cooldown use as the Mesmer could potentially have. So he needs to make sure that he's staying consistent throughout, not overusing anything, and making sure that he stays, like I said, consistent. And now with Ostrich Eggs being pulled in, he might be able to take out Olrun, actually, as Olrun stays alive for the time being with that resistance, actually, and is able to get a little bit of an evade there and get himself back up to 30% with the help of his teammate there, Stalacta. In the meantime, though, we are seeing Bear actually get extremely low, pulling out of this fight here with 900 HP, and it now looks to try to get reconnected back with his team a little bit, as Olrun was able to just get res. But in the meantime, we still have Apex with the only cap of the game right now,
but
and kind of...
Oh, he's taken down. I mean, you said the only cap. As you say that, the stomp comes out in the Trackful, and Morph is the only one left alive.
Yeah, and as the Dragon Hunter, he's not going to be able to hold on to this one.
And he already used Renewed Focus, so he just gave up the cap. Ostrich Jays look to make a move, maybe to peel for him, get out, but Feov is in the area, drops the trap, trying to get out of that with that run of the trapper, trying to stick himself alive. Just going to JI right onto the midpoint, as he should, and looking to try and clean this one up as well.
Yeah, but he is an easy target for them right now, and he's basically Revenant food. Gonna drop down. No way that Quilja is gonna be able to prevent anything there. He's just gonna be staying on point, basically waiting imminent death as well, as all of these Revenants are just gonna be looking straight at him. Actually, just the one, but still so much pressure there that he has to worry about. Trackful gonna be able to come in and provide some support there, and it's up to Quilja basically to just kind of get a lot of healing on point, a lot of CC on point as well, to try to prevent a lot of the damage that could potentially be dropped upon Trackful right now, as he's getting extremely low, 30%, 20% now, able to get some heal from his Herald there. Looks like they're going to be trying to hold on to this one a little while longer, waiting for a teammate to come in and save him.
Take a look at the windmill. We have Morph and Oegs looking to go up against Olrun. We'll have to see how long he can last in this 1v2, as a stomp actually just came out onto Trackful. So the Apex Prime with only a 1-point lead here. We do see that gravity well coming out there for Olrun. Didn't use Continuum Split there, so didn't want to make use of that, but has Stalacta in the area as well. So this one cap in both teams' favor is really leaving it up to this midpoint, which doesn't look like Apex Prime really wants to make a huge commitment to it, but this red team needs to continue to file into this node if anyone happens to go down, because if Quilja dies, they're pretty much going to be left alone on that mid node without anything to sustain.
Yeah, it looks like Quilja are going to be trying to add again to this mid fight a little bit, where Tarsus is trying to keep the dream alive. In the meantime, though, Ostrich and Morph are extremely low against Stal and Olrun. Looks like they're trying to get a little bit of pull off on Stal. Morph actually missing the true shot because of the swirling winds there, and Ostrich is actually just going to be pulling out of this fight, heading over to the mid and trying to save Tarsus, who's getting extremely low. Might actually go down here, as he's not going to get enough healing there from Quilja, and Quilja not in a position to save him, as he's going to get Condi bombed as well, and he's going to go down here.
Wow.
And now blue team has an advantage here. They're going to be able to get Clock Tower for sure, as Morph's not going to be able to have any sort of hope at holding on to this. But Trackful moving on here with Ostrich Eggs. The timing being so perfect here. If they can look to Bear and maybe put some more damage on him, they might be able to hold on to this one for a little while longer.
Oh, the knockback though! Coming out there, and we will see Trackful give up the cap with a 2-cap now in favor of Never Lucky. I didn't expect this to be even held this close, for that matter. Morph actually in a 1v1 against Feov, who, Morph, I don't think he's going to be able to last too long unless Feov makes some mistakes. But, you know, we'll have to see how that one progresses. I actually want to stick around this one because Morph might be getting help now. Morph is under so much pressure. He's going to be actually taken down in that 1v1. Feov going in for the quickness stop. Quilja in the area. He will pick up the stomp, but not the decap here.
So essentially what just happened is Morph lost a 1v1 to someone who is not ranked 80 in PvP.
He's close though.
He's close now. He's close now.
Probably in the upper 70s or so, but I know that's a rough matchup for Moore.
That's absolutely a rough matchup for a Dragon Hunter. I mean, any kind of condition pressure is not going to be good for them because, I mean, they don't really have too many answers. He has Contemplation, so he has that advantage as opposed to some of the other Dragon Hunters, of course. But, I mean, aside from that, it's still a lot of condition pressure. We saw right as soon as he died, he was getting 2k burn ticks, 1k torment ticks. That's a lot of stuff to deal with as a Dragon Hunter when you have that low of a starting health pool of 11k. Of course, Marauder going to bring it up to 17. It's just not a lot to deal with, man.
I think that's a pretty good move there from Bear. Didn't want to fully commit because he knew he was in a bad situation. Didn't have a whole lot of cooldowns. Was pretty low himself. Just went back up to the keep. No, didn't want to make sure that they got the kill onto Apex Prime there. But now OEGS is under a lot of pressure. Didn't manage to transfer his condies. Now Feov is going to get this free quickness stomp onto him. And they are surging ahead in points. Apex Prime is starting to crumble right here. And I'm not exactly sure what, I don't even understand how this is going in favor of Neverlucky. Neverlucky, who has been struggling for the past 2 weeks, who coming into this match today probably had little to no hope whatsoever against the undefeated Apex Prime, who are being 2-capped and a D-cap now coming out as Quilja is going to be taken out over at the Mansion. Feov going to get this stomp as well. I think they are starting to like this new lineup that they have.
They're feeling real good, man. I mean, Olrun right now taking a little bit of pressure, but I think he's going to be able to get a heal off in just a matter of time. He does have actually his double shield. He's going to be able to pull out of this one and recollect. However, it does look like he's going to be just opting to leave completely. I mean, they have the 2-cap. They have full map control. Portal goes down for Olrun there, and it looks like they might just opt to bring Stalacta out of this one. Such good timing there, actually. And Stalacta going to be able to get back up, and they're going to re-enter the fray here against Apex and hold on to this one again.
Yeah, Stalacta under a lot of pressure here and needs to manage to keep himself alive. We do see it. Oh, good portal actually coming out there. Going to try and swap some places as Olrun is now in the mix in this 2-cap. They are just, like, look at this. A 2-cap and this D-cap still prevailing for them. Looking to pick up a 3-cap now. A lot of damage coming out onto Bear, who is struggling to keep himself afloat. With so much pressure, he's actually doing a decent job. Regardless, Apex Prime is lost.
I mean, yeah, they have. That's pretty much exactly how I'm feeling. I mean, Olrun right now has been done so well at tanking this, and I mean, this has been a role that Olrun has been kind of really comfortable with for a long period of time here. I mean, actually just got condition bomb, no field gets dropped, and still taking a lot of heat though. Actually could go down here, just as I was talking about how comfortable he was in this role and situation, but he's gonna get right back on up and maybe even stay alive a little bit longer here as he's able to get some of those condies off. But still, I mean,
a 200-point lead right now for Neverlucky.
This is essentially what Olrun has done for a very long period of time. Of course, before he did it on the Elementalist, but now all it really is a profession slot. The role is still the same.
That is true, and with that being said, it's a completely different team right here. Steel Illusions on this team, who I honestly thought might not be the greatest addition for their composition or even team as a whole, but they are just running a train over Apex right now, who can't get anything for themselves in this match, who looked relatively decent at the start, but since this 2-cap and D-cap, and even before that, Neverlucky just running all over these guys.
I mean, they're going to have to rename themselves from Neverlucky after this. They're going to have to, because taking a game against Apex Prime...
They're going to have to go with Barely Lucky.
Barely Lucky. I'm thinking if they do the same thing here in the next map, I'm saying Team Locomotive, man. I'm saying Team Locomotive. All speed ahead, boys.
Tarsus, I mean, this game is basically out of Apex's hands right now. Oh, look at that. Stuck midair right there. Bear almost got the stop, but OEGS will not be able to get that res. Even so, this is Neverlucky's game. They've got this in the bag. Moving on to a game number 3 on Temple of the Silent Storm. So many adjustments on the side of Apex Prime have to be made. This is not a one-time deal where they made a couple of mistakes. This is just a train wreck for Apex Prime. Coming out, losing 188 to 502, whom is considered one of, if not the worst team in Pro Leagues at the time. Neverlucky, who, you know, they did not do well over the past few weeks. And coming out and taking that game over Apex Prime, what do you have to say for them?
I mean, in a week filled with roster instability for both EU and NA, Oren's team, Never Lucky, finally not having instability has been, at least in my opinion, the reason for what we just saw. Steel Illusions kind of struggling a little bit in my eyes. I think that he's kind of struggling to adapt. Certainly not as quick to adapt as his other teammate, someone that he's actually played with for a very long time, Feov, who actually, in my opinion, this game did quite well. I mean, he really did. And if Steel is able to perform at the same level as Feov in the coming weeks, I think this team will be blossoming into something at least
respectable to be in that, mid half of. Yep. If they can keep this up, keeping, Apex Prime probably coming in today thinking this is going to be a cakewalk, 2-0 for them, but perhaps the other way around. Let's head on to our second map on the Temple of the Silent Storm as we have both teams starting to join up here, and no changes, surprisingly enough. I had heard rumors of OX back on the Engineer, Tarsus maybe on the Necromancer, but third, I actually kind of like this swap, not swapping, rather, on the side of Apex Prime.
Yeah, it looks like they're feeling pretty confident about their ability to retake what they feel was taken away from them, which is that victory right there, and they think they're going to be able to take this one. I think they're pretty confident about it. I was talking to them a little bit before. I was talking to Morph a little bit before, and he's telling me, I mean, they were feeling pretty good about it. They were feeling like they had a pretty good shot against Never Lucky, but Never Lucky coming through. And if they take this one, of course, it'll just be adding to the upset that we've been seeing all day here, and not even just in NA, but in EU as well. Orange logo falling to more guns. I mean, it's been upsets all day today, and it's been thrilling to watch, but I mean, you have to think about it from these teams' perspectives. I mean, being dominant for so long, being good for so long, and these teams finally catching up through the Pro League, through being so hyped about everything that's going on. And I mean, we're finally seeing some insane amount of competition coming out across the board from everyone here in Pro League.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the map as we have game number 2 about to commence. Apex Prime and Never Lucky. We'll have to see if anything different comes out on the side of Apex Prime, because they can't afford to do what they did in the last game. Opening splits, though, looks like Morpheus potentially to the Temple, and Stalagta this time to the Altar. A big cross, though, coming out on the side of the blue team.
Looks like a pretty aggressive start for this blue team here. We are going to be seeing both teams cap out their home nodes probably, unless Olrun makes it over, and he's going to be stopped in his tracks there by Morph, and we are going to be seeing Morph get that full cap. However, I'm not sure how what's going to happen here, as Stalagta does actually make a move to try to actually get over here. Does decide to actually leave, but Feov actually is in downstate already. They're going to push him, and they knock him down too. So even if they get up, I mean, he's going to be spending so much time.
Look at the knockback. The knockback actually got him down to the other level, it looked like, in the res. Will maybe coming out. I don't know. Tarsus is here, so is OX. I don't think that's actually coming out now. It looked like they possibly had that, but just a giant skirmish on the docks here, as both these teams now are going to make way to that gate node. And Stalagta trying to get himself out of this node, and the decap actually coming out there from Morpheus over on the Altar. Might be able to find himself in a 1v1 against Olrun.
Yeah, and Trackful did a good job of maintaining himself just long enough to get a kill on Stalagta there, as Stalagta actually does get back up relatively quickly, still not looking healthy though. And now as soon as that Obsidian Flesh is going to wear off, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble there. Is in that Earth attunement, but not sure how long that's going to keep him alive for, as at any point they can just put so much condition pressure on top of him. In the meantime though, Quilja getting trained out here, Team Locomotive all over the place. Quilja getting down to about, oh, he does go down, and do they have the damage here? Not enough. The res does come out. All the teams so far today that we have seen have been so on top of everything in terms of resing, and it's been so hard to actually solidify a kill after the downstate and actually secure them, and that's kind of been a problem for some teams actually, as we see some struggle in these team fights where they get the downstates but they're not able to get anything going. Looking back actually to Spooky.
Tarsus and Morph picking up the kill there onto Olrun. It looks like they're trying to do something, but he is going to be forced out of this node, and we will see the first 2-cap of the game for Apex Prime. Now this is a better looking Apex Prime. Doesn't feel like they're at full force still, but this is better looking on their end. Need to hold up their end of the 2-caps here. Taking a look over at the Temple, as a bit of a skirmish is going to be going on here with this 2v2, if I'm not mistaken. It's an identical 2v2. Feov and Kaze Stout going to be in a 2v2 against Quilja and Trackstar. But this 2v2 is, I mean, this is this is what Apex Prime I feel like it's kind of what they want to do. Hold on to these side notes, toy with mid if you really want to, but make sure you don't lose any of your members in the process.
Right now we are seeing Trackful getting pretty low here, actually, as we are seeing, actually, looking at Tarsus adding to this gate fight, maybe actually taking out Steel here. Are they going to get the 3 cap as OX gets the stomp off here? And they are going to go ahead and charge ahead. They have the possibility, at least, and Morph going to get stomped out.
Yeah, that 3 cap isn't going to be happening, but we do have the first stillness buff of the game up in about 10 seconds here. Ulrun and Tarsus both in the area to engage in this fight. So if you know Ulrun's here, it's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. But the 2 cap still holding on with that gate cap like you showed earlier. That is exactly what is giving Apex Prime this lead right now. Hopefully they won't, for their sake, they can't potentially throw it. But we saw in the last set a giant throw at the end of this game. So this map is still anybody's take at any moment.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I'm staying away from calling games on this map until it's 499, and maybe not even then. I mean, it could go either way. Quilja doing a great job of staying alive here. Still gonna go down. Trackful gonna go for the res. Looks like he's gonna be able to maybe get it. However, the CC is pretty heavy. The Vapor Form, though, does go out. And after Vapor Form, I don't think I've seen a res actually happen all day. I think the chances of you getting the res after Vapor Form statistically are 0%.
Well, it looks like Apex Prime eventually will be losing this Temple node. Trackstar trying to get out of this one rather than die on the node. That's probably the best move he could do, but will be taken out regardless, so neither of those situations going to work out for him, as they will be getting decapped on the midpoint as well. Steel Illusions picking that up. OX looking for a 1v1 here, and this is a turn of what we just saw. 2 cap coming out for Apex, now a 2 cap, potentially a 3 cap in the making for Never Lucky.
Yeah, and losing that fight on Temple, and it took so long to do that. I mean, they were just burning away resources all that time, and unfortunately that led to this 2 cap here. They were just kind of strung out around the map, and now they're fighting back to hold on here. Bear almost got that top buff there. Stillness not able to fully get it as he looks to try to punish basically Quilja and even Tarsus, actually, it looks like. However, Quilja now going for the cap, not going to be able to get that. Of course, his stall is going to stall that one out. But we are still seeing 2 cap in favor of blue team.
I like that one. There is like you said, 2 cap in that mid fight. Still going on down here. We do have both buffs up once again in about 1 minute. That first tranquility buff of the game. But Apex Prime ever so slowly losing the lead. We do have Fav in the down state. Nice knockback, gonna land. Looks like Steel Illusions is able to get him back up. They're actually struggling at this midpoint now. This is exactly what Apex Prime needs to do, and Steel Illusions trying to get a bit of resistance with that portal. Now Ulrun's in the mix. I don't think this is going anywhere because of the fact that Temple is uncontested. Ulrun made his way to this midpoint, and we're going to see a lead now come out here for the first time in this game from Never Lucky.
But we'll have to see if they're going to hold on to that, as Steel's getting incredibly low. Bear was taken out, and Tarsus is going to be able to get that decap and even bleed him out over time here. If they're able to take out Steel, which is a possibility still, as he does have the burns, they do actually finish the job. Morph, though, getting that sword auto and getting him down. However, they are going to be able to get him back up.
OX, though, taken down as well. We do have the first trank buff up in about 10 seconds. We already saw Ulrun head down there from the the gate, excuse me. And Red Team picking up that cap, like you said, over at the altar node, taking a look if Ulrun will be contested or not, if Apex Prime remembers. Yes, it looks like Tarsus will be able to get there in time. Ulrun, nonetheless, going for it, as Tarsus will be able to land that surge and miss. Back at the top buff, never was capped, so it will, of course, just respawn right on top of that.
Yeah, and this 1v1, in my opinion, is definitely in Tarsus' favor here over time. I mean, Ulrun might be able to hold off for a little while, but with the poison that's going to be consistently on top of him, Tarsus doing a great job, actually, of maintaining that poison. I think that he has a shot, actually, to kill Ulrun in a little bit. However,
he just
the portal comes
out.
out, so now they're going to swap out. Steel going to be taking his place here.
But he wasn't in much better position either. Steel was about the same health.
Fayoff, though, coming through. It might be enough here, as we are going to be seeing him drop a ton of damage.
3 cap right now for Never Lucky in the process. Just briefly, we do have a decap from Trackful over at the...
the 3 cap came out.
So he got the decap, but there goes the Tranquility buff. Just the second time we've even seen that capped, I believe in Pro League for that matter. But even so, Never Lucky starting to build that lead that we saw in the last game. some changes need to happen here for Apex Prime to take this one.
I mean, I have to say, those bells ringing from that Trank buff is like the most haunting sound.
Did we get it or did they get it? That's the real question. Still at the stillness buff, got a bit of a skirmish at the midpoint, as well as it looks like Steel Illusions is going to be able to hold on just fine against Morph and Fractal. Might need some help, low on cooldowns for that matter. Does have his mantra up if he needs to use it, but OEGS trying to valiantly defend the temple, but they need to get something else. They got the kill on the fail potentially. They also just got the stillness buff. That will, hands down, keep them in the game. It looks like Fail manages to get himself back up.
They need to follow that one up,
absolutely. But they need to do something here.
They need to follow up on that. Tarsus is pretty low here. Morph actually very low as well, and he's got his back turned with that Shield of Courage up. Not going to prevent any damage that way, and he's going to be able to get out of this one, at least for the meantime. Quilja, though, is extremely low, able to get some heals for himself and some blasts as well, so he's going to keep not only himself up, but his team as well, and Morph is back up and into it and looking to take out Feoff, as we are seeing much the same from Bear and Feoff onto Quilja, as he's trying to get away, actually, even from his team.
Well, Trackful's moving back to the temple. They should have numbers accounted for. There's no reason for them to be there. They need to take advantage. Not even take advantage. They need to have 5v5 around the map. No reason for him to be around there. They're looking to try and get a decap. One tick away from getting a decap. Oh, there's a surge in the mist. Can he get back onto the point? No. Stalagta will lightning flash immediately back onto the altar node. Not allowing for any decap to happen. A portal actually coming down there. Back for, Ulrun going through it. And we do have that stillness buff up again in 15 seconds. Apex Prime desperately needs it, or else this game's going to come to an end shortly here.
Morph is going to drop here. A lot of pressure coming out from this blue team here. Never Lucky, and they're going to be able to solidify that kill. And with that kill, they're going to be able to solidify some good map control going into this stillness buff. Which, if they're able to like either win home or get stillness, they're going to be the victors in this scenario.
I don't know. OEGS will be able to get this cap over at the altar. Actually, he's not going for it. He's just going to try and make sure they get the kill on the Ulrun. I kind of like that move, but they've got to get that stillness buff. They have to also attempt for a decap at the midpoint. I just think it's imperative to their success here, and with Steel Illusions just sitting there, it's going to be very difficult for them to get that. And I think, honestly, I feel like Stalagta is good enough to where he can stay alive in this 1v2 for quite some time. OEGS, knowing that, leaves the point. His tracks are actually taken down. Going to get stomped. No, the res actually coming out from Quilja over at this stillness buff.
Yeah, and holding on to this for as long as possible is only going to be helping Never Lucky here. I mean, all they have to do is make sure that they just maintain. Quilja going to be going for the cap, but probably not going to get it.
We do just see Tarsus getting the cap against Stalagta, who is forced into invuln, and OEGS looking for a 1v1 against Steel Illusions at the midpoint, so the 2 cap going to be holding on here. That's not enough. That is not enough to win this game. They have to get that 4 cap. They have to get stillness here, or a decap. It doesn't matter which. Either of them work, but the longer they allow for this, either of those situations not to happen, it makes it imperative that they have to get that mid node decapped, and it doesn't look like that could happen anytime soon with Stalagta in the area as well.
Looks like Feoff getting pretty low, though. Tars is going to be going for a kill probably really shortly. If he can land a spike here, he's going to be able to get that one. However, it really comes down to their ability to win that home node once again, and it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Ulrun's going to get it there, and Tarsus is now going to be forced into a situation where he has to kind of just hold 2 of these guys here for as long as possible. In the meantime, Bear was taken out. Trackful going for the cast there, and actually is going to get it for his team. Stillness is in favor of Apex Prime.
But it's not going to matter with the mid node, especially with OEGS being stomped out there. We are going to see Never Lucky 2-0ing, undefeated, previously undefeated Apex Prime. What a surprise on our hands there.
Yeah, and down goes Apex Prime. I mean, that... we talked about it before. I mean, we were saying, hey, there's a chance that Never Lucky could take this one. Apex looking good for the past 2 weeks, but Never Lucky is a team that could always come back and surprise you, and there they just did. And 2-0ing Apex pretty, I mean, it felt like they did it pretty easily, man. I mean, honestly, it felt like it was natural to them.
I mean, the second game, you have to admit, on Temple of Silent Storm, better effort from Apex Prime rather than their 188-point effort on the Battle of Kylo. But you got to think about the upcoming weeks. Dropping that match was pretty crucial for other teams standing a chance in the future, trying to get to that top 2 spot.
That's another opportunity for Team PZ, man.
It really is. And thinking about the future, I mean, something's got to happen. That was just a completely different team. Even, honestly, they had harder matchups in the previous 2 weeks. What happened? What changed? It's not like they had any roster changes or any comp changes.
Yeah, so taking a look at the leaderboard here, we can actually see how everything has kind of turned out over the course of the day. Of course, Absurd going to be in that first place slot. And now we have a 3-way tie for second between Apex Prime, Spooky, and now Easy Peasy.
That is crazy in and of itself. Those 3 teams right now, still Final Form, PZ, Never Lucky, even Zero Counterplay for that matter, all looking for that second spot. But the Absurd, of course, at that number 1 spot. I can't say I'm too surprised, to say the least. What are your expectations next week for how this might shape?
I mean, the Absurd is looking to kind of just stomp out all the competition, but they haven't done it so easily. I mean, they did very well against Final Form today. A little bit of a struggle on that first map, and we've seen them struggle before. We've seen how teams have found ways to get through them and actually potentially take maps, or at least get extremely close to doing so. I mean, last week we saw Team PZ take a map. We've seen Team PZ storming back up through the leaderboard, trying to retake a position on second place. We saw Final Form get extremely close at taking that Battle of Kylo there. I mean, could we see the Absurd actually drop a series before the end of the season? I mean,
there's potential for it. There always is potential for it. But of course, looking forward to next week, guys, and our social. You can go ahead and follow ESL over on Facebook and Twitter at ESLGW2. Follow along to catch the highlights and the previews for the upcoming matches for next week. Let's go ahead and actually take a think about next week's matches. Going to be pretty intense. Those will, of course, start at 5 o'clock Pacific next Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern, followed by a short break. Any last thoughts before we head out here?
I mean, what a day of upsets, indeed. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to take a look back and say, Orange Logo dropping. I mean, Final Form having an opportunity of taking down the Absurd, unfortunately slipping away, and then Apex Prime, a team that was undefeated, dropping to a team that hadn't won yet at all, Never Lucky, a team that just picked someone up for their team, someone that has not been in the competitive scene, I think has played with Olrun and an ESL Weekly, but aside from that, Steel hasn't really seen that much, and Feoff not rank 80 in PvP at all.
And you can't count out the Zero Counterplay Easy Peasy matchup with that incredible comeback and Zero Counterplay falling to 0-3. But that'll be it from us, guys. Christian, Hurix, and I, thank you guys for watching. Like we said earlier, we'll be live next week at 5 o'clock